All right, call the regular select board meeting, Hardwick Select Board meeting, April 28th to order. First item is to approve the minutes from the April 4th regular select board meeting.
I move we approve the minutes from the April 4th select board meeting.
Second.
All right, any discussion or revisions, corrections?
Since I was not here, I don't have any.
No.
I don't either. I know there were some made, and I don't know what they were,
Right.
so, but,
I think everything's done, taken care of.
Yeah. yep. All right, hearing no corrections or amendments, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Me too. Now, item 2 is adjust the agenda. We're going to add the town manager's report prior to Tommy's road foreman report, and it'll be given by Casey. Any other? I guess I make a motion of that, or somebody has to.
Second?
Any other adjustments to the agenda?
Nope.
All right, all in favor of the adjusted agenda? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Communications from the audience, anyone that is here for something other than one of the items on the agenda?
Everyone has copies of the agenda.
All right, hearing none, we'll move right into the town manager's report given by Casey.
Okay. Sean's activity. He met with Bruce Westcott from Central Vermont Solid Waste District, the general manager, updating on their activities. He reported that we have our new employee for the highway department. He started on Monday and he's getting oriented, and I'm sure Tom will fill us more in on that. He's been processing the remaining USDA Lamoille Valley Rail Trail improvement grant paperwork and participated in the site visit from USDA and the Vermont State Historic Preservation Office. Elizabeth and Eric were also present for that. He attended the Yellow Barn Business Accelerator Planning Meeting with the Vermont Agency of Community Commerce and Development and assisted them with the processing of the wetlands permit application for that project. Attended the Hardwick Area Restorative Justice Center Planning Meeting. Signed off on the library's USDA grant application and is working on processing the quitclaim deed to join the former senior center with the Judavine property. He's been communicating and letting everybody know about the assessor work that's being done by New England Municipal Consultants. Posted that on the website and in the newspaper on the front page for him. He's also compiling information with help from Elizabeth for a proposal for painting of the Historical Society building, and there'll be an RFP later this spring on that, request for proposal. And also, we have to do a consumer confidence report on the public water system, and he's been working on that in conjunction with Ken from the wastewater, and Alberta and Tanya also assisted with processing that.
And he's out of the office this week, but he's back on Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Any other questions? All right, next is the road foreman report by Tom Fadden.
Okay. Mud season is on the show, it's all. The roads actually started breaking up a little bit, not too bad, just a couple places here and there. We had to go out on Stratton Road, there's a couple spots out there we had to fix. Due to the rain, of course, we ain't done much grading because of it, and the snow we got Monday night. But we did manage to get over towards Pumpkin Lane and Porter Brook side over there. Did a little bit up on Hopkins around the loop. We've also been dealing with some frozen culverts and some culverts kind of lifting and then collapsing. collapsing back down and washing out underneath. So we've been going around fixing those. We've also been dealing with some frozen culverts and some culverts kind of lifting and then collapsing back down and washing out underneath. So we've been going around fixing those. What else? Went out Macville today and ditched over there by the trailer park. That was all full of silt sand and stuff, so we got that back and open. And went over on Porter Brook where that kind of washed. We kind of redid the ditch up through there. Hopefully that should hold up better this round of rain that's coming. Tomorrow we got a culvert we got to change out on Dusty Swamp Road because that one's kind of collapsed and plugged. So we're gonna rip that one out tomorrow, and then we got a spot on Marsh Road, and my road foreman, Mikey Hall there, told me there's a spot up on Cape Brook Road that's starting to muck up there. So we'll be hitting that area tomorrow with the grader and stuff. We've also had a couple guys, I forgot to mention last time there for the site board meeting, that we got 2 guys right now that are going to water class. That's Mike and Ed. They've been going every Tuesday and Wednesday, and this week was their last week.
What's
And,
water class?
it's where they gotta obtain their Class 2 water license.
So they can fill in if they
Yeah.
are needed, or...
Yeah, so that's about it.
All right,
Did you say something about, there's a big old branch down almost in the road on Macville? Have you seen that or heard about it? I don't...
Light department's been down there cutting, so I don't know.
Okay, well,
yeah, they're down there, they're working down there, but I didn't,
Yeah,
up past my place must be.
yeah, a little further up.
yeah, because they've been up there, whatchamacallit's been up there cutting trees and everything else.
Yeah, Adams.
So
I had to
imagine.
Yeah,
swerve a
so
little,
I don't
because
know.
it's out in the lane, but I don't know.
Tonight?
But I would mention it, yeah.
Oh, it's something new.
I dropped Diane off at home and came back and had to swerve.
Oh, so they may not know about it.
In the
Something
road.
happened, the wind blew because it blew my doggy pool across the yard.
Oh.
Well, I'm just saying, the wind blew down there tonight, 'cause it's been there all winter. And I didn't know
Macville
the
Road,
wind tonight.
before you come, when you're coming back, before you make the turn and go by the...
Aaron will make sure it's not a safety
A
issue.
little further up the street. Not as far as Wendy and Harry Bissett, though,
Okay,
but it's on the other side of
all
the
right,
road.
take a cruise up first thing in the morning.
Anything else for Tom?
Nope.
Chief Cochran with the Hardwick Police Department report.
All right, some of the highlights for us. We plan to close our application process for our open position, dispatcher position, the end of this week. And we've had 13 applicants so far as of today. So we do have several qualified applicants that we'll, I talked with Sean, we're actually looking at probably tentatively a June 3rd start date. We'll be going through the applicants after we've collected them this week, and be looking to schedule interviews. We'll be, our detective will do the background investigations.
Right, they have to have
et cetera.
background investigations.
They have to have background investigations, yeah. They can't have any, have been convicted of any crime. If they have, we would have to have special permissions in order for them to access the computer systems and everything, so. So we have to make sure everything is all good there, fingerprinted. The actual person who takes the position will be fingerprinted and so on, and that will be the final background there.
But if you have people with experience, they've already undergone that. So
Generally, if anybody's already a dispatcher, then they've already done that, which makes it a little easier for us, but.
Well, yeah,
but
just only because you don't want to get a good candidate and then find out at the end that they...
Right, so we, we'll still go through, and we'll go through the same as we would for any job, really, to see if there's anything that we need to know about or should know about from previous employers, et cetera, so we'll go through that too. And, let's see here, well, supposedly the repairs are supposed to have been done on both cruisers today, but the parts didn't come in on the second one, so that's not fixed yet, so that's at Lamoille Valley still. The first one's fixed, that's back on the road, and we're waiting for some parts. They were gonna overnight them, it was supposed to be done today, and they didn't come in, et cetera, so we'll hope to get that back here right off. We did participate in the distracted driving mobilization. I'm sure anybody who saw the news saw people up in the woods and with binoculars. They were doing some creative stuff for that. I don't have any numbers. The officer that handles that whole campaign stuff for us actually is at the hospital having his baby right now, so so he wasn't in today, so.
Who's that, which one?
Officer Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's he's not having the
Right,
baby,
right.
but
He's encouraging us to take.
but he's helping, I believe, holding hands, whatever. So I don't have that, but, we also, Officer Mitchell and I also attended a training, last week that was sponsored by, the National Highway Traffic Safety Agency, or whatever it is, NHTSA. We went to an 8-hour training on, communications, with media, with communications with using Facebook and other media relations that can help push out a traffic safety message, for your agency, so we did that. One of the trainers was from, I think it was Chicago, one of them had come in, but they were from, all over, they're federal trainers. It was actually pretty good. That was a free training that they did for us all over the state, all state, law enforcement a lot of them went to this, so, that was quite well. We also got notice this past week of the, competency hearing for the individual, who I'll say allegedly, because it hasn't gone to court yet, but, allegedly burned the town building and Larry Hamill's building, which prompted me to kind of look in to see if they had all the information they needed from the town. They don't have a victim's impact statement, et cetera. They never received that. So depending on the competency hearing, how that goes, I'll work with Sean. I talked with Sean about it. Well, I'll work with him and we'll get whatever they need. They don't cover restitution. It doesn't cover if there's insurance anyways, but I don't know what any of the final numbers were for building and et cetera, so I'll work with Sean and we'll try to get through that and get whatever needs to go over to the courts for that if necessary. And I did hear back from the Agency on Agriculture, so we are going to do the Creamy from a Cop program, which is a public relations program. We are going to participate in that. They're going to work with the local vendors for us, so we don't have to coordinate that part. They'll do all of that coordination and get us the coupons to hand out to people at events or however we choose to do that as a public relations piece. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone from you, any questions?
Yeah.
All right, next we have the Hardwick Electric Department report by Gina Capoli. Welcome.
Good to be here. I think I know everyone. I'm Gina Campoli. I'm a commissioner from Craftsbury. And I got a couple of items to review. One is that the negotiations with the IBEW, those are linemen, are in progress and things are going.
What is the IBEW?
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. So the commission and the general manager are in negotiations with them. Their contract will expire later this year. And they're going very well. We had one meeting. There's another meeting, I think the first week of May, but so far we don't see any big problems with that negotiation. Our year-to-date financials show revenues up 3% over budget. That's about $34,000. And expenses are 4% or $50,000 under budget. So things are looking good in the financial side of things. We had to hire a new auditor because our auditor, who we used for a multi-year period of time, passed away. Gene Bassett passed away. And it was hard at the last minute to find somebody, but we just now are entering into a contract with Mudgett, Jenna and Crow Weisner, PC from Montpelier. The KBS lawsuit is moving slowly forward. Our latest news is that 2 motions for summary judgment by the defense were just recently denied by the judge in St. Johnsbury. So that's good, but things are going much more slowly than we want them to, but I guess that's how it works in the court system. The project at the Walcott Dam to improve the sluice gate is in the final design stages, and we still intend to execute the project during the low water season in 2019, so that'll be during the summer months. We'll get that going. H11, which is our solar project, is still moving forward. We had a key conference with all the parties involved on April 15th, and we hope to have information to share with you in the next month or two on that. There are negotiations about the financial aspects of it that we still can't make public. After some turnover in personnel in 2018, we're happy to report that HED has all positions filled with permanent full-time employees as of last week. So that's really good news. And finally, now that the snow's gone, veg management crews are back at it, and they are working on danger trees in areas that are being upgraded in Mackville and in Hardwick Village. And that's what I've got for report. I think Mike will be here the next time we're due for a meeting, which I think is in a couple of weeks. Any questions?
No.
No, you did fine.
Great. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you. So, that moves us right into item number 1, task force formation for composting or recycling for the community. I know.
I don't know. I'm betting that Nancy's here, and so I guess we can ask if you guys are here that because you're interested in it, or...
Yeah, I had,
Thank you, Gina.
thank you. I had wanted to speak with Chip about when an act is passed by the state, if, according to his wife, Regina, that it automatically becomes law. Now, you know, what happens in between that, from being on the Waste Management District Board, I know that the ANR, the Agency of Natural Resources, will enforce, as long as there's deep pockets and there's a fine to cover their expense of enforcement. So I think that's probably not very realistic.
But this doesn't, I'm sorry, it's not really about the formation of the composting task force.
No, and
So basically, you're interested in that task force? Is that
right.
real? So,
I'm wondering
I
if
think
there's
that's all
any
we can really
state
do.
support. I mean, this is an act, this is a timeline that was developed a long time ago.
to discuss it.
Right,
I don't
so-
understand it, so yeah.
No, so,
It's not really-
It's on the agenda, Chair, because I realize you're blindsided on this
I
one,
don't-
because you've been gone, so.
Yeah, I thought it was actually
You
gonna be
folks
on
are
the
here-
next
So you
agenda.
folks would be interested in being on the task force? I mean, that's really the only question tonight.
Yeah, because
which would
it's
make
not
you two
formed,
people.
so.
We have 10.
No?
No, this is different.
Oh, this is different.
This is the
So-
Conservation
So
Commission.
Casey, did we, have
Be
we
nice if
reached
some of
out
those people wanted to be
anywhere?
on there.
Did we reach out like on Front Porch Forum and announce in the Gazette that we were going to be forming this task force?
Not to
Recycling.
my knowledge.
So,
no,
we need to-
because
we need to kinda do
three
that.
people that were interested, and I don't know, John.
Brendan and,
Oh,
well-
are you Brendan, sir?
I'm Ben.
Oh, okay.
No,
So not for that, and so basically,
Conservation.
okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you. So basically Nancy's the only one here present. We had 2 other people that spoke to you verbally that were
But I believe
interested.
both of them are out of town right now.
Okay.
So I actually thought this was gonna be on the next meeting.
All right, so let's bump
agenda. So we could just push it because we don't have any decisions that we can
So-
actually
Right,
make.
because we have to get people here
Right,
that
so we need
want to actually
to,
form
please, we
it.
need to get the word out in the Gazette, and we need to get the word out in Front Porch Forum, that the next meeting, which is when? I don't know, whenever.
Second?
Wait a second.
Are you good with that, Sherry?
Yeah.
You'll be a little more prepared because it does kind of involve you being the leader.
Do you want people to submit a letter indicating their interest?
Yes.
Letter of interest, same deal,
Right.
as always.
So the town manager's office can take the lead on that and doing something similar that we did to the Conservation Commission
Right.
where we post and say we're looking for people
Okay,
to do this
perfect.
task force and
Yeah.
please send a letter of interest. Got it.
Yep, that's perfect. And then that way we'll have a much more productive, organized discussion.
Right.
Yeah,
And we can do it, we can set it that way.
yeah.
All right,
Makes more
well,
sense.
thank you for coming, and Nancy, right?
Yeah.
Nancy, thank you for coming, and May 2nd, we're going to have a larger group, and we will make sure that it happens.
Let's hope, so.
The Act 148, the deadline for municipality, for residential composting could be cited in, this is July. I mean, this has been,
The whole reason for the task force is for the task force to work on the subject matter and then
So that we're not
work those
working on
things
it
out.
in
So we're
this
not doing that in the select board meeting.
Meeting, yeah. Select board's not gonna do
I'm
it.
saying on the notice, of why it's happening now,
Well, it's happening now because we talked about it at town meeting and it came up that we were gonna try to
Right,
form it.
right.
So now is when people are supposed to actually follow through with that interest and volunteer to be part of it, like you and I. But it needs to be more than you and I.
So we will take it up at the next meeting with some action. If we get, to be honest, I'll be honest, we're gonna need more than just you, so you need to drum up some people to come with you.
that's,
Yeah.
posting for people who have ideas about how to do this.
And the deadline for submitting your letter of interest should be when? Last day of April?
Shortly before our next meeting.
Prior to the meeting, so May 1st,
So what's the
maybe.
Tuesday before that?
Well, so like April 30th, a couple days before, but we may want to do that the Monday before the meeting,
Right.
probably.
But
Whatever that ends up being for a
so
date.
the other suggestion is when we do things like this, Casey,
29th.
give us these in our packet, so we're not here tonight with people,
Yeah,
I'm trying to read them and run a meeting and listen to the person that's talking all at the same
Yeah, and
time.
I just got all of those yesterday,
Right,
so.
so having a deadline is a good way of,
So the 29th is the Monday before
Okay.
that May 2nd meeting.
all right, thank you, Nancy. We will move on to item number 2, which is updating the schedule for fees for zoning. Kristen Leahy, zoning administrator, will lead that discussion. For 8-10 years now, I've been a select board member, I've asked repeatedly to take the times off the agenda for that reason. Because I guarantee you, the other people aren't gonna be here when we're ready for them either, but they don't listen to me.
The conservation people are all coming at 6:50.
Yeah, we're gonna be late.
They may be elected by then.
Yeah. So to my point, once again, take the times off the agenda. Anyway, what you got?
Do you guys have it?
We do have it.
Okay, so, I became aware that we were actually going back to losing money on our, public hearings again, because the cost of ads in the Gazette has gone up. So, that was the suggestion to us to go up again on that one, because we're not making money, we're just
Right,
covering costs.
Which we talked about previously,
Right.
Tessa was trying to do that.
Yes, so at the same time, so that would be the lower 1, 2, 3, 4, which go to 240.
Yep.
Those are the 4, that's what's covered there. These schedules, these fees were adopted in 2017, it's 2019. Because I was already coming to you with these 4, I threw in, should we talk about moving any of the others up? The one I would say that I put on here is the 25 up to 35, I would stay at 25. That's definitely $5,000 for something, a lot of times it's people are repurposing building materials. and doing work themselves. And I think the 25 is reflective of that. But I wanted to just give you guys a chance to weigh in on whether you wanted to go up on new construction fees for over 50,000 or over 100,000.
Well, I don't have a problem with a $10 increase in all of those fees myself.
I really like the 25, I do.
That's fine.
I really do. It's especially when someone's saying to me, I'm only spending 500 on this, why do I have to get a permit?
Right.
25 is a lot easier to swallow.
So perfect. So you would recommend the 110, the 55, the 240, the 240, the 240, the 240?
Yeah, and continue with the 25.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we're going to change. Discussion?
Motion?
Yeah, sure.
So I move that we adopt the new proposed fees as recommended by Kristen.
With the exception number 3 maybe, or?
With the,
Yeah.
with the
No, so
revision
to be
to
clear in
that
a
number.
minute, 1, 2, 9, 10, 13, and 15.
And 15.
Yeah.
To go up.
To increase.
Adjust as
To
noted.
cover increased costs.
Yeah.
Second?
All right. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor of raising the numbers that we talked about, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, none of them passed. Thank you. So, because,
Let's go on to item 4.
you wanna?
Yeah.
I
Or
bet
do you
I'd
wanna
follow
take
that
a
on my
minute?
own, but. Yeah, but I'd said that if I could've got the words out of my mouth. I think that's a great idea. Let's move, due to the folks from the Conservation Commission members are not here, or potential members, move to item number 4, which is to approve Hazen School to move forward with posting a street banner on Wilka Street for Hazen Service Week, May 13 to 17. Hanging of the banner would be done by HED on or about May 6th and taken down following Service Week.
So moved?
Second.
All right, any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Hang the banner. I would say we could move right on to item 5, if everyone's willing. Item 5, that unfortunately, the 2 gentlemen from Caledonia, all-terrain travelers, the ATV club in town could not make it. I can, as I'm the one that, yeah, as I'm heavily involved, I could explain the change, or we could just postpone the whole thing, whichever you go. I have no problem postponing it until we have everyone here. It's not a big change, but it's up to you guys.
Does it have a time frame on it?
No, we'd be fine if we wait.
Let's wait.
Let's wait then.
So we'll bump that to the May 2nd agenda as well. The club guys would like to be here anyway, just to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, let's keep rolling. Casey, can we do the town budget now?
Sure.
Bye.
Okay, I just gotta adjust this, bear with me. It's probably about as good as it's gonna get.
Excuse
No way
me.
to make this any bigger.
There we go.
So, in looking at this, the tax revenues show really high because we haven't paid the school district their money yet. Everything else is pretty much on target. Overall, kind of, basically at this point, we should be around 75 to 80% because we're 3/4 of the way through our fiscal year. Again, the revenues, because of not paying the school district, they're a little bit skewed in terms of departments. most everybody's right where they need to be, so,
Where do we get caught?
do you have questions about the revenue?
Yeah, how much will we pay the school?
Too much. See, that's
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
it's the size of it.
Oh, it's
A
probably.
big chunk of that, it's at least half of that, right? If we're at 200.
Probably half of that.
About 120% of it. Because that would put us at about 80%, I'm guessing.
I don't have that exact number, but I would say probably about half of that.
Yeah.
I suspected that, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it up.
Where's, oh, that's the police. I was just wondering how, Tommy, how are you making out?
Okay, so we'll.
Well, it's not-
Do you have questions, further questions about revenue, so we can jump on?
Oh,
to-
no, I'm way ahead of you then. I thought I was
You're-
behind, I'm
okay.
ahead.
All right, so let's move on to the general fund here. What I'd like to do is kind of highlight a few things in each department. I did send this out ahead of time so that if you had
Yeah.
questions, and I pointed out a few categories that were over and explained why they were over. So advertising in office is pretty significant, and basically that's all attributed to our town manager search when we contracted with VLCT and had to do all the advertising for that. So that is that website maintenance. While it shows 300%, it's literally a matter of $175 over because we had a fee for the website that was due every 3 years, and that came due. Education and training has been ongoing because we have new staff and had to pay NEMRIC to come, and so it was completely necessary. But overall, being at 82%, this is actually as of April 12th, so really not that far above 75%, so not too bad. Nothing spectacular in other payroll. Election officials, we had a primary in November, so that's a smidge over. And coming up here to page 2, buildings look pretty decent. Townhouse maintenance shows high because we chose to winterize the townhouse, which actually was to our advantage because we would have paid a lot more than that to heat it through the winter when it's the town's responsibility, because March 1st.
Goes to glycol.
Yeah, so.
Well, we wouldn't have heated it.
So that's what we chose to do, and so, public safety building's all good. Police department, the part-time has been over, and Aaron addressed that issue previously. Part-time is pretty much almost gone now. Is that correct, Aaron?
Yeah, for the most
Dwindled
part.
down to nothing, and, but overall, the department's at 73, so they're on target, despite being over in a couple of categories, but overall, still around 73. Fire department looking fine at 69%. Then we get to highway. Highway, the first section is kind of your materials, winter salt, sand. The winter salt is, we knew it was gonna be over because we knew it was gonna be, what, 10 or 12,000 over just from the price increase. But then, of course, we've had a terribly icy winter. So, we are currently, let me just get to that page, 20, right now we're 27.4 over budget in salt is where we at, and I don't believe we'll have any more salt probably, unless I have another bill pending, but that's where we're at, and so it's the reality. We needed the salt and we had to purchase it, so there's that. Highway department, the other things, there's a couple categories that show they're over. The storm drain and catch, I want to point out that we have a $7,000 reimbursement coming from a grant, so while it shows the expenses are 700%, we have $7,000 coming back on the revenue side to offset that. Garage culverts is a similar situation. We do have some money coming from Better Back Roads grant to offset that. Highway repairs have been a challenge this year, as Tom knows, and at this point, considering how it's been, we are $5,600 over budget in equipment repair and expense, and of course, we had Tom's truck that broke down, and that was a really large expense, so that really justifies that. Anything else? Line items, page 6. Auditing was over by about 5,000 because we had to have a single audit due to the amount of our grant expenses in the fiscal year 18. That was unexpected, but it was required. Professional services are slightly over due to fees to VLCT for the town manager search.
Excuse me, Casey.
Yes.
Does the grant fund, do the grant funds cover, is there enough money in the grant to cover the audit of it?
In this case, no.
No.
No. This was, what I understand, it was like the bike path, but it's the South Main project. A single audit is triggered when you have more than $750,000 in grant expenses. So it was from that specific project,
Okay.
so all that money was spent, yeah. There are situations, my understanding, where a project can budget that.
Yeah, I think-
Yellow Barn, for instance,
Yeah.
if that moves forward, they will budget for the town's single audit to so.
Yeah. And I think you addressed that in the Bixby's last one too?
I don't remember it.
Anyway.
Doesn't mean it
we
didn't
will
happen.
now on. I'm pretty sure we did in the last,
Trails and Rec are right on track. So total expenditures as of April 12th, we're at 83%, slightly higher than we want to be, but there were definitely some factors out of our control. But certainly, I would say there's no unnecessary purchases being made or anything like that. It's just what we've got to keep doing to move forward and, yeah. So
good job, Aaron. The other one I saw, low 70s. Gee. Well, that's how your average comes out. Somebody's gotta be on the low side.
All right.
Well, and there's still, like on that one, there's a lot of, there's revenues too,
Yeah.
which aren't included in this, so it's actually down around 60 something. If you figure any
That's
revenues.
not as bad, considering what a hard winter, long hard winter we had. Certainly could be worse.
Keep it up, I'll suck it up.
We had, even with hours, it's not been an easy year. We had hired somebody and then for the full-time position, then they backed out after we had geared them up, and spent the money on equipment, et cetera, for that.
Yeah.
And they backed out, so that was unexpected for us. Our dispatcher position, that was obviously very unexpected, so there's some different things for us that really.
I shouldn't have brought any of it up. So, revenue for the dog, is that in this budget?
I think that's in,
Or was that the last one?
You mean what we took back?
When the
Like when
dog,
we sold it?
yeah.
That
That's
goes
in the
into
capital,
capital, so you
Oh,
actually
so we don't
don't
even
see
see
that
it.
here.
So that's fine.
Because.
that's
right,
sitting in the
those-
capital fund.
Because the vehicle and the dog were originally purchased out of capital, the
Yep.
proceeds had to go back into capital, so, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so that's it for, do you have questions about the general portion here? We'll go to water and sewer. Water first. Water expenses. My understanding on this is that there's been some additional testing and such requirements, permit fees this year that we will be accounting for in the fiscal year '20, but that attributes to some of the expenses that is making it a little bit high. There's new requirements that we have to meet.
Is that what the professional services is about?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Some of that actually was, we had to hire a third party for coverage last summer. That's what that was specifically. Yeah, okay. And that's why it's really great that these guys are attending these classes. The ultimate goal is to cross-train, right, Tom? So that we can avoid that Route 1 cross-training, so that those guys can step in and help to cover. And nothing out of the ordinary there. So, let me just go to sewer real quick. Sewer is around 85%. So I know we've had, and so the categories such as, well, we had processed chemicals went up. We had some, what was the other thing? Additional requirements in this category as well, as water. Any questions about that?
Right, but that's one of those where, 326% looks like a really big percentage number, but it's only $1,000.
Right.
That's what that
Exactly.
percentage thing sometimes, it's a good,
a little bit skewed,
way to
yes.
monitor it, but you gotta really look at it.
With the real number.
Yeah, the real number.
Right. Okay.
Good.
Any other questions?
Carry on.
Good job.
So we going on to 7?
Huh?
Are we going on to 7?
Oh, we went all the way through sewer and everything?
Yeah.
Good
That's
job.
the end.
Everybody's happy? Yeah, let's do number 7, everyone's not here yet.
No, there's a
All
few
right.
people who said they're.
We'll give you number 7, then we're rolling. Number 7 would be to authorize signing of the annual financial plan for V-Trans.
Yeah, it's basically just a document, it's our budget that we met with Shauna Clifford from V-Trans and sat down with her, and we just use figures from our town report and create a budget template from their forms, and then it just has to be signed by the select board. I prepared it, she approved it, and I'm just looking for signatures, so I still think you'd have to make a motion to approve signing it, and then I'll get it over to you.
Make the motion.
So moved.
So,
I move that we sign the annual financial plan for V-Trans.
are we authorized signing up?
Yeah.
Are we signing or are we
Yes,
authorizing someone to sign?
Yes. All three of you can sign, please.
Okay.
Is that second, Sherry?
Second?
All right, any further discussion? All in favor of signing the annual financial plan for V-Trans, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And,
Here it
none
comes.
opposed. All right, we are going to circle back around to item number 3, and we'll go slow, so that everyone can get here. It's gonna be. And it's the appoint the Hardwick Conservation Commission members. Now, I believe so when we formed this, didn't we task some folks with kind of coming back to us, like, how many members? I mean, none of this has been talked about, to my knowledge, yet.
I don't remember whether,
What rules are we playing by here?
maybe Rachel could speak to that.
So, Kristen, are you the leader here?
No, I just did logistics. You can have up to 9 members, and you have 10 applicants.
So this is coming from where? The rules of
This is a
Conservation
statute
Commissions?
From the state. You can
Okay.
have, and in that it's the first time, they're supposed to have 3-year appointments, but in that it's the first time, you're supposed to create equitable rolling, like 3-1.
Yeah, I can figure that part out, so,
Thought it might be fair.
yeah, so, so, is it, it's the desire to have 9?
I don't know.
That's what I was trying to spit out.
Less, but.
We honestly didn't know how many people might apply. We didn't really get that far along to know what would be.
So with 10, I'm asking, do we want to go with 9, or do we want to go with, I would think if we go with 9 and you've got 10, we go with 9.
From my experience of running boards, it's easier to have more people because people go on vacations and then you keep your quorum. And then you keep your quorum and you have different people working on different projects. I think it's lovely that you have so many. Yeah. I would go with as many as you can.
Yeah, I mean, the Greensboro Commission right now, I was reading online, I mean, they're looking for more and they have 5, so it's not that everybody's gonna be there all the time.
I'm all good with it, I'm trying to take some direction on how to move forward here. I'll raise your hand, I'll swear you in, that's what I'm here for, I guess. How do you want to handle it, Liz?
Well, it appears that we've got 9 members, we're deciding on 9 members, which to get it started means that we've got 3 people being appointed for a 1-year term, 3 people being appointed for a 2-year term, 3 people being appointed for a 3-year term. It seems like a complicated enough process that we shouldn't sort it out sort of willy-nilly. It seems like the sort of thing that an ad hoc committee should get together and sort out. We've got 10 applicants. Rachel, did you put together any sort of, this is what we're looking for in people to be on here so that we can evaluate who should be the one who doesn't make it?
Not really, no. If you look through, there is one person who said she was possibly interested, and she, so I think she could be an alternate, and she can also attend the meetings if possible, but I think she's indicating that she's very busy.
But I think we still would want input from the 9 folks. Who wants to be one? Do you want us to pick who's 1, who's 2, and who's 3? See what, I would think it would be best for an ad hoc committee, which is these 9 people, 10 people, to have a meeting and bring us back some recommendations on what they need to talk with each other a little bit and kind of get a feeling of, we don't know, right now, we don't know anything about anything. We're all for it, but, I mean, we don't want to say, okay, you're 3 and you're 1 and you're 2 and you're the one, you're number 10. You're out. Without any guidance from the folks that are interested in doing it.
So we suggest that the 10 meet and make a decision on, how many people, like the 3 people that are gonna have 1, 2, and 3 or 4.
I need something to come from you folks saying, this is what we want to do. And these are especially if you have one that's possible and have you guys reach out, then all of a sudden you've got 9 that want to. There's no decisions to be made. Some people may want to only give it a try for a year. Some people may want to bite into it for 3 years and come back to us with that, and we would say yes. But right now, it's...
So I think what you're suggesting is that we meet and then discuss amongst ourselves if someone wants to put up for 1 year, 2 or 3, and it seems we kind of created...
We've got 9 yeses to hand out.
And created to some extent.
We don't care who we hand it to, we want to hand it to the folks that want to serve in that capacity, so.
Go forth and organize.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing we told you last time when there was 2, and now you come back with 10, so it's a good direction to send you in.
Then you could bring back recommendations, and then we just appoint as their...
So there's 8 of you here now, and Kenny's out, I see Ken's, and Ken and Reno are not here. Reno and Ken said in his thing that he was out of town, who are both great candidates. So I'm all for you guys having your first unofficial meeting and kind of work on some things, and maybe as a group come up with kind of a little draft of what you might take on at the beginning, so just so everyone else knows. No, I don't care.
So, as far as the memberships, yes, or the period of appointment, is there other things that we should try and work out to relate to the board, at our next meeting, or whenever that happens?
Statute, and all of you probably are normal statutes that surround.
Yeah, they're
3-year, like I said, it's 3-year. and then
There's no other requirements.
It just says that if you're brand new, then you do staggered.
Sure, I understand that, but I mean, would there be anything else that we should bring back to the board here to?
How about a basic outline of your organization agreement, your bylaws, so that, right, purpose, mission statement, and there's a room out there, I don't know how much longer we're going to be here,
Not
but
very.
since you are all here,
Well, yeah, they can meet.
right, that you could go right into the next room and get this started, rather than
Right,
trying to
yeah.
find a time where everybody else works.
And this is the last item on the agenda, so, and then we can put you back on the agenda May 2nd, and then we will give you the, we'll bless you and throw a little holy water on your heads, and you're on your own.
A list of your proposed 1, 2, and 3-year term people, so that way the board can basically formally appoint those individuals if they choose, yes.
So,
Yeah.
And if any of you want to join the compost task, you just let me know.
It being a dual-purpose commission, we would be willing, we would be listening.
Just let me know.
Go over that.
Yeah, nobody said anything, yeah.
All right, so,
Anybody that didn't sign in, they please sign in on the paper for me, thank you. I am. Okay.
all right.
I'm going to take just a minute, and let them get out.
Wow, okay. All I've got is, the only thing I got left is say adjourned.
we've got the,
The what?
well, select board reports, new business, old business.
Oh, yeah,
We did
yeah.
15 seconds worth.
Right, yeah. No, unless you got, I'm just kidding, but I mean, we don't have another,
We have it.
anyway, select board reports. Townhouse is open.
The townhouse is open. The tickets for the vaudeville show this first weekend in May are on sale now on their website and at the Galaxy. There are a couple of school concerts and events that are happening in the next couple of weeks. The best way to know what's happening is to go to the website,
Which is,
which is hardwicktownhouse.org.
So the Glen Hall transition thing all went well? Fire
Yeah,
stuff back
went
up?
really well. Everything was fine.
We should have done it years ago.
It was, yeah.
We should have spent the money years ago to do that.
Yeah. If people, if we could have gotten a consensus between people, but Rod never agreed that that was a good
Right, the
thing,
right
so.
thing to do. Yeah.
But we got it now, and it was much easier.
Absolutely, that's the thing to
It
do.
was relatively uneventful. I mean, we ran out of fuel oil last week, but that was just like a bump in the road. But now we got more.
Good. Anything else, Sherry, or Wiz? I'm interested in how your walk went with the LVRT guys here the other day. Did that all go well?
that went very well. That there was, the thing I like about, frankly, working with people in those agencies is that they want us to succeed.
Very good.
You know, that they're full of ideas about, you know, the regs say you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, but here's what we can do to help you get through them. That there's so much bashing of bureaucrats and government workers and something, and these people are, my experience with Vermont public servants is that that's the way they see their job, that they're...
I work with them every day, all day long, and I agree with you. It's the next level is where the problem arises. But yeah, I
Right,
agree.
but the people who are on the ground are really good people. So we walked up there, we walked out the trail, took a look at what the situation really was. They talked about, one of them said, oh, you need rail trail development or trailhead development money? I will send you, about this sort of grant, and you could do this, and you should go look at that. They have absolutely the most wonderful example. I mean, it was a really useful experience. I'm glad I went on it.
Good, cool. All right, new business? I have old business, Eric's not here, but are you, obviously after sugar season, are you and him going to pick back up the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because time seems to fly by, so.
It does, and there's some hard questions to be decided.
Yes, I agree.
There are lots of things that have multiple right answers.
Yes, and all of them are, most of them are all long-term.
So you're talking about the
Town
section
garage
house and
complex
the-
or whatever.
oh, okay.
And the thing that is foremost in my mind is that once that rail trail goes through, we may start with a couple thousand people using it in the course of a year, but Morrisville had 10 to 15,000 people going through Morrisville, so that this ugly little corner of Hardwick, which was put back there where nobody would see it, suddenly becomes a major front door to strangers coming into here. And it needs to be better organized, it needs to be better kept than it looks now, and so...
Tommy laughed before you said that.
Pardon me?
Nothing? Yeah, I agree with you, so it'll
We
be good.
really need to focus some energy on that.
I agree.
Maybe some landscaping on that end.
Yeah, I mean, you can still have, the facility can still be there.
Between the two, yeah.
It just needs to be,
Create
and it's a lot better now than it was 2 years ago, so it's getting better every year.
But, you know, the Quonset hut needs to be sandblasted and painted, the creamery needs to be
It
painted.
needs to be blasted, I'll go with that.
You see, there are right answers in lots of different
That's right.
directions.
I agree. If we could move it, I would save it in a heartbeat. But the fact that it's right in the middle of everything is my only binding up problem. Anyway.
Yeah, and we can't...
Multiple answers. Old business is, no, I don't have any more, no executive session. I will ask, we did get a economic development loan grant.
Application.
Loan fund application. Is that like for us to review and?
I emailed you everything.
Right. so
Are we
this is
supposed to do that tonight?
No.
Oh, okay.
The plan was that you would email any questions you have,
Okay.
so that I can ask the potential borrower and be prepared to give you those answers.
So there's one big one.
And
I don't
May
see no.
2nd, he'll be coming to the May 2nd meeting.
So I saw one really, I see a whole bunch of little ones, but one big one is I see no security, no collateral, no,
Okay, well, this should, yeah, I mean,
right. So but that's an issue. I mean, I just generally speaking, I'm letting you know that it didn't, I don't see it, so. I'll send you an email. Anything else? Nope.
I probably should comment, or at least mention that the town, Neck Arts is working on an application for the fire escapes at the townhouse. So
For
Vermont
grant.
Arts Council Community Facilities Fund grant that we expect to match anyway, and not use town funds, but capital money.
Which grant?
The cultural facilities
Cultural
grant,
facilities.
because they particularly like to do things that have to do with accessibility and safety and
No, that's a good one.
stuff like that. And so we got one 2 years ago and did wiring stuff, and so this year we're gonna try for the fire escapes. We'll see how it goes.
Yep. I actually am on the recreation facilities, it's the same program. It's a good program except for it's a high match. But-
No, it's 50/50.
Right, well, in my world, that's high.
Well,
In
But
the
it's better than
humanities
nothing.
world,
We're used to
that's
that.
common.
That's common.
We're used to
yeah.
That's
that,
common.
yeah. So.
But that's something you, Neck Arts would be covering the match or the town?
Our hope is that we would do that, yeah.
You-
That we would fundraise for
You're we,
the-
when you say we, you're
I'm
both.
sorry, that Neck Arts
Right.
would fundraise for the match.
Okay, that's perfect.
To that. It's hard to say. We don't have all the bids and stuff like that in yet, so.
No.
I don't know if we'll actually be able to pull it off before May 1st deadline, but we'll see.
All right, no, that's a good one. Anything else?
No.
All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Done, well, gone, done. Shut it off, please.